Hi, my name's Harrison Tarabella, and welcome to my review of the Mitakon 50mm f0.95. You'll have to forgive me, I have never done a lens review before. Well, that's not entirely true. I've never published a lens review before. 2 years ago, when I got my Rokinon 85mm t1.5, I actually put together a little review on that. It was never finished, though. I looked very different. I was a lot younger. I still had my 60D, so I wasn't shooting with nicer cameras yet, like the Sony Alpha cameras that I have now. But we'll see how this goes. So because of that, I'm not quite sure how to structure this review. It's a lens, not a camera, so I'm not really sure how to organize this. I'm gonna keep a graphic right here. I'm gonna try and keep a graphic right here, something like that. And I'm going to try and let you know what camera I currently have this lens mounted on, so I hope that helps. So let's start off with the big thing about this lens. This is the thing that draws people to buy it, f0.95. Now, to be perfectly honest, no one would buy this lens if it was not f0.95. The brand's Mitakon, there might be other ways to pronounce it, I'm saying Mitakon, but no one's really heard of it. When people see this lens, they say, wow, it's f0.95, I want this lens. Or they say, oh wow, f0.95, no one in their right mind would use that. I'm actually shooting at f0.5 right now, so let's see. Oh, my eyes are actually in focus, I haven't moved, but just like that, nothing is in focus. And let's turn the focus all the way. So I'm talking right now, but nothing is in focus. So, you know, very, very creamy, odd background. So past my dirty mirror, grab focus on my eyes. I think that looks good. So yeah, I'm shooting at f0.95 right now just because I really do like the aesthetic of it, and I'm not moving. You know, if I go here, my eyes are out of focus. If I go here, my eyes are out of focus. But at this spot right here, it's okay as long as I stand still and do not move. Okay, so I've had like 5 cups of coffee and I am insanely productive right now, so we're gonna knock out the rest of this right here. I shot everything that you just saw in February. It is now May. So as it sometimes does, life decided to happen, and I was busy with work, with finals, with school. School and finals are the same, but with work, then moving, because you know, once school's over, I leave. So I went and moved, and I'm back here, and turns out now the fam is moving. So I moved, and now I get to help them move. Pros and cons about the lens. Pro, it's 0.95. The only other lenses that can do that are like Leica lenses, I think. Do you know how much Leica lenses cost? Because they are quite expensive. This lens is pricier for new shooters, $900. But when you compare that to a Leica lens, which can be in the thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars, yeah, $800 isn't looking too shabby anymore. Another thing that I love about this lens, which actually we'll split it and talk more about it later, but build quality. This thing, it weighs a lot, and I actually like that. Now I know the Sony cameras, and I touched on this earlier, but the Sony cameras are kind of meant to be small. That's their selling point. Like, you know, have a full frame camera that's small. Actually, I think Sony posted one of my own pictures on their Instagram account where I was talking about how I loved using their system because it's small and I can just throw it in my backpack whenever I want to. You know, sometimes I like having a big camera, it's cool. So that's honestly, like, it feels like a well-made lens. You pick it up and you don't think cheap. Now let's go into the cons. So lens flare. This has a really, 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 really freaky, weird lens flare. I have gotten some artsy pictures where the flare looks kind of cool, but I would really prefer if it just didn't happen at all. It's the weirdest lens flare I've ever seen on any lens ever in existence that I've shot with. It needs to just go away. But you can instantly fix it by stopping down. So if you're at f0.95 and you have this flare, literally stop down not even all the way to 1.4 and it'll go away. You just gotta twist the aperture dial a tiny little bit and the problem will fix itself. Another con about this lens is actually something about the build quality. And so I know I said the build quality is good, and it is good, but just this one minor little issue that I thought was just me not taking care of it until I looked online and I saw that other people were having this issue too. More often than not, and when I say that, I mean maybe 18% of the time, when I go to turn the aperture ring, it feels like there's a piece of sand stuck in it, which those of you who have had something like that happen before know that sand and lenses don't go well together. Now, I know that lenses are glass, and glass used to be sand in a previous life, but that still doesn't go well together. And I thought this was just me having maybe a grain of sand fall into my camera bag, but looking online, I found several people who I guess there was grain in their lens, which it's not affected quality, it's not grinding against anything important, and like I said, most of the time it's not even there, but it's there often enough for me to take notice. And you know, you feel it when you're turning the dial and you don't like it. I don't know if that's just me or if that's Mitakon, but it's weird.
Another cool thing that kind of goes in with build quality, the box. So this lens came in a really cool box, and you know, honestly, most lens boxes I either just throw in the top of my shelf or I'll throw away. My camera boxes, I think, are actually up here in my shelf right now. I'm filming in my closet right now, by the way. I just threw in some lights, but yeah, it's a really nice box though. It's a leather box with a cutout foam interior with space for the lens. I don't see myself carrying the lens around in here because I have multiple camera bags, or I just leave it on my camera. But this is still a really nice touch, so thank you for this awesome box that I don't know what to do with now because I can't throw it away because it's too nice, but it takes up a lot of room on my desk, so I put it in a drawer and I don't know what to do with it, and now I can't fit my hard drive in that drawer anymore because there's this weird lens box. So thank you. Alright, so this is my old 50 that I had. This was actually my father's lens from one of his old film Nikon bodies from back in the day. This has been one of my main workhorse lenses since I've been shooting. I originally adapted it from my old Canon 60D and I used it on several projects. And then when I got my A7 Mark II, I adapted it to this, got wonderful results. Some of my favorite pictures I've ever taken have been with this lens. And then of course when I got my A7S, I have used it for so much. In my A7S review, I actually think there's a clip where you can hear me say, I want a new 50 and I found one that's f0.95, but I already own one, so I can't justify it.
There's this 50 that I'm really interested in, but I can't justify it because I already own a 50 and it's $800, but it's an f0.95. What the fuck?
Well, something happened with this one, and what happened was the glass came out of alignment. So I have my adapter on here right now, but if I were to take this off and if I were to wiggle this lens, you would hear a noise, and that is the glass in the back of the lens, the element actually moving. I have taken this lens apart and done surgery on it twice over the past year and a half, and I have to say I'm good at rebuilding lenses now, so that's a bonus, but I would rather have a brand new lens with some really awesome specs and have it not fall apart than have an old vintage lens that falls apart. Even though I did get great shots with this lens, it was just time for something new, so I'm gonna retire this. So yeah, the things I like about this lens, obviously f0.95, that's giant. Shooting in the dark with this lens, I know I already did a segment in my A7S review about shooting without light in the dark. This opens up new possibilities. Y'all do something, it's a video.
I really want to get one. Wait, it's a video?
Yes.
What's up, what? Wait, move? Wait,
that light
want
just
us to
messed
move?
I mean, I'm taking a video right now, it's kinda...
Did my light mess it up? Probably.
It was very bright.
Yeah. Will you be able to see us?
Keep trying. Elliot, you're doing absolutely nothing.
You said lungs, baby girl.
Also, this has been a video, so... I know the actual t-stop of this lens is not f0.95. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. I'm just trying to remember. I think the actual t-stop of this lens is around 1.4, but even with that, we still have a shallower depth of field because of the aperture. Aperture and t-stop is different. So while we're letting in 1.4 stops of light, we still have the depth of field of f0.95, which has allowed me to do something very incredible, which is take portraits in a field at 12 o'clock at night with bokeh coming from the stars. So these have been some of my favorite pictures I've ever taken, actually. We were lighting people with the screens of their phones. They would have their phone in their hands on its minimum brightness setting, and they were completely lit, and it was amazing. So I might have been able to do that with my old 50, but here's the thing. At f0.95, this lens is sharper than my old 50 was at 1.4, which, granted, that was a very, 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 very old vintage lens, and this is a brand new lens, but I know a lot of people are out there saying that this lens isn't sharp. It's just a matter of getting focus. If you can get focused, then this lens will be sharp. The pictures I've taken with this lens, they have a really unique characteristic to them. I've been shooting a lot of pictures on the A7S, actually, and the A7 II. This lens is really well balanced on both of the cameras. On my A7 II, it feels a lot heavier because the A7 II is a metal body, as opposed to the A7S being more plasticky. But it works well with both of them. It's really a pleasure to carry around. A7 II, obviously, it's stabilized, so that helps a lot, but at the same time with f0.95, it's very rare that I'm using a shutter speed that is slow enough that it needs to be stabilized. So let me try and introduce one of the video segments that I've already shot. I went and took this lens on my A7S to a place that I actually go to shoot pretty frequently. You might recognize it from some of my other reviews, but it's the Moss Rock Preserve here in Birmingham. I went with my friend Tim, and we just went around and I shot a bunch of stuff, and Tim had my A7 II and he was shooting me shoot a bunch of stuff. Alright, so we are here in the beautiful nature in Alabama. Alright, so as we can see right now, I am recording my good friend Timothy. Say hi to the audience, Timothy. So I kidnapped Timothy. I came into his room and I said, Tim, what are you doing today? He said nothing. So I took him, we brought him into the woods, and I'm making him film this lens review for me. I have this new lens. It was very fancy. It was kind of an impulsive buy. It might not have been the smartest thing to do, but we are going to test it out for video. We're going to shoot some nature. It'll be fun.
Blue eyes when you're blue. Maybe if I had, then I have for you. Bribing the jury to keep me in jail.
Alright, so the depth of field of this lens is actually so shallow that I had to turn off focus peaking on my camera because it actually just wasn't working. Because I think the focus peaking highlights what's contrasty in the image, so you get that red static on it so you can see what's in focus. But shooting at 0.95, the image is actually just so, I guess, milky that the peaking just doesn't do anything. So when you punch in, it's highlighting things that are not actually in focus. So shooting at f0.95, at least for video, focus peaking is not the thing to do.
Come gather in my long Scottish wind. Belt
out your blackest poems as the sea around you sings. When that drone takes to the air, single note to raise my hair, carry songs beyond my lungs, cold Scottish wind. Come fall upon my shoulders, Scottish rain, and dissolve all of the worry.
Is this lens for you? Despite the fact that this is an amazing lens, if you're starting off, I would recommend other lenses because this is expensive. It's $800-900, and my parents' dog just walked through. I really can't stand that animal. It's on its last leg of life. It's kind of gross. Where was I? But yeah, so you're gonna die soon. Would I recommend this lens for you? Are you new to photography and video? Because if you are, I'm gonna say no, because this lens does take a little bit of experience to use. It is f0.95. It's hard to pull focus for moving subjects. Are you an experienced shooter? I'd say if you are confident with manually focusing, then get this lens. If you are not, then stay far away from it. That's really what it comes down to. If you can hit the focus all by yourself with this lens, it's going to be perfect and you're going to love it, and it will be an essential part of your kit. But if you're not good at focusing by yourself, you're not going to be able to get any shots with this. I'm sorry, but that's just the truth. What I'm going to do now, I have shot lots of things with this lens, and they're just going to happen. So they're going to go on the screen, and I have hopefully other projects that will be happening this summer. I'm sorry that this one was so weird, but like I said, life happened. I'll be moving to a new house. Well, the fam will be moving to a new house. I'll be staying there for a few months until I go back to Birmingham. Yeah, Birmingham's that way. So thank you for watching as always. This has been one of my weirder reviews. Like I said, lens reviews are hard. But this is an amazing lens. Again, if you're good at manual focusing, buy this lens and you will love it. If you're bad at manual focusing, learn how to do it and then you'll love this lens. Thank you. And go follow me on Instagram because I post cool things there. I'm done.